Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another one of my podcasts. Today's subject is going to be dive planning and decompression management during the dive. Now, this is a topic that I've been asked to do a lot, and I've stayed clear of it a lot as well. And the reason is that what I'm going to say is a bit like the CNS stuff. So I'm going to tell you the way people, or certainly the people that I dive with, do it, rather than the way it is taught on Mod 2 or Mod 3 courses. And I'll kind of explain a bit of the rationale, and you get all the usual kind of truth and everything from me. Now, on one of my previous podcasts, I got told off by somebody because before I did that, I then went and talked about a whole load of other things which weren't related to the subject. So I'm not going to do that today. But what I am going to say is, if you could hang on towards the end, I am going to talk about some other things. I'm going to talk about my visit to the Kernow Dive Festival, which is the weekend that I've just had. I'm going to talk about some kit reviews that I've got coming up. I'm going to talk about some competitions, and I have got an absolutely stunning prize down the line. And I'm going to talk about a bit about some of the stuff that's happened recently, some of the newspaper stuff, and also my diving plans for the next month or so. So that's all coming, but I'm going to cut to the chase now and talk about dive planning and decompression management. So I'm a Mod 3 instructor, so I've taught various different people, using the different syllabuses. I'm aware of the international standards and all those kind of things. So the reason that I've stayed clear of this subject before is because what I'm going to say to you is very different to the way that you are taught in those courses. Now, you can take or leave that. I'm just going to tell you the way it is done by the people that I dive with and the way I do it myself. So when you do your training, you will normally be taught about the importance of planning and the importance of choosing a bottom time and then calculating a decompression plan. And normally you will calculate it based on a few different things. You will have the actual dive that you're going to plan. You then may plan to go a bit deeper. You may plan to go a bit longer, and you may plan to go deeper and longer. So you'll potentially have a number of different plans. And then normally based on the deeper and longer plan, you would then have a bailout plan as well, which would decide how much gas you need. So that's the way that you are taught to plan these kind of dives. So, and nothing wrong with that. That's, it's a good way of doing it. And, it will give you awareness of what's going on and all those kind of things. So, that is the gold standard for absolute certain. What do we do though? Well, normally if I'm going out on a boat, you will have a discussion with the skipper, and the skipper will give you a run time. And typically for the kind of diving I do, that might be 2.5 hours. It might be 3 hours. The diving I've just been doing, I mentioned the Kernow Dive Festival, it was 90 minutes for those dives. But they were a bit shallower. So you will get that information. And then really what you do during the dive is you have two pieces of information available to you. You have the amount of time that you've been down, and then you have the computer giving you a TTS, a total time to surface, which is the quickest that you could get to the surface if everything goes right. So what you do is you use those two numbers to hit the run time. So as an example, if I am 25 minutes into a dive and I have 2 hours of TTS, I know that I'm going to be getting out of the water, give or take, round about 2.5 hours. So if I'm not at the bottom of the shot starting my ascent at that point, I really want to be. So that is as simple. That's it. That is kind of what we do. And obviously there's a whole load of different things that have gone into that. One is, by and large, we've done quite a lot of diving. So, we understand roughly how much time you should be getting at the bottom. But there's also that understanding that you need to hit the run times. So now there's a couple of things with TTS, which is obviously really important in the scenario I've just outlined. So TTS is a perfect ideal world event. So to achieve the time that's shown on the TTS, you need to ascend at exactly the right rate that the computer thinks you're going to ascend. You need to do the stops at exactly the amount of time and exactly the depth that the computer thinks that you're going to do them. And obviously you need to have the perfect PO2 and all those kind of things. So clearly that's not going to happen because, you are never going to be able to achieve those things. So the reality is that it is going to take you longer to get to the surface than the TTS that is shown to you at the bottom. How much longer is a really good question. And what I would say is you as a diver become aware of how good you are at following those TTSs. So for instance, for me, I know that I'm going to do my decompression stops a bit deeper than is on the TTS. So if it says 12 meters, so if my Shearwater is telling me I need to stop at 12 meters, chances are I'm going to be stopping at 12.5 or 13, just because that's slightly easier to maintain that depth. Equally, I know that if the Shearwater wants me to do a 3 meter stop, and I do have my last stop set to 3 meters, I am going to probably be doing it at 4 or 4.5 meters, maybe even 6, depending on the circumstances. Those will lengthen the amount of time to get you out of the water. So, how much longer? Well, difficult to say. What I do have in my favour, though, is a piece of information that the computer doesn't know, which is that I know when I get to my first decompression stop, I'm going to change my PO2 from 1.3 to 1.5, and therefore I'm going to do most of my decompression. I'm going to accelerate it. So what that means in practice for me is that I know that when I leave the bottom, I'm going to achieve roughly the TTS that is shown to me. So that means for me, if I'm doing a 2.5 hour run time and I'm at the bottom of the shot, I've got 2 hours of TTS and I'm at the bottom of the shot at minute 30, I am probably going to get out of the water at 2.5 hours. What I normally do is leave a bit more of a fudge factor in it than that. But that is what I do. That is the way that I manage my decompression. You can see that I haven't mentioned anything about planning before I get in the water. So I don't really do that. Maybe if it's quite a deep dive, I will run a plan on my Shearwater, or I'll run a plan on multi-deco to give me an idea of what minute on the dive I need to be back at the shot. That's really what I'm doing that for. Now, anybody who's an instructor, people who write courses, people will tell you this is heresy. This is wrong. You should have slates. You should have run times. You should have done your planning. All those kind of things. And you know what? As I've already said, that's entirely fine. It's not what I do, and I've done a lot of deep diving. So, the technique that I've just told you, that is something I do on a lot of my dives. So, clearly for me it works. And as I've said many times on these kind of things, this is big boys diving. You need to, or big people's diving, I guess. You need to understand what you're doing. You need to make your own decisions. So I wouldn't recommend doing what I've just said there unless you are with somebody more experienced or you've got the experience yourself. So the big question that people are going to say to me is, but how do you know how much bailout gas you need? And that is a really good question. I'd kind of slightly turn that round and say that any bailout scenario has a whole load of variables in it. Now, some of them, such as when you bail out, what depth you bail out, all those kind of things, you can mitigate by just going to the worst case scenario. Get that. But the big variable that you will never know until you bail out for real is, what is your breathing rate going to be? Now, in the international standards, in various diver training programs, they will give you breathing rates to use. 25 litres a minute, 50 litres a minute, 30, 40, whatever it is. And it may be that is what you'll breathe. It may be you'll breathe a lot less. Equally, it may be that you'll breathe a lot more, and particularly, obviously, in certain scenarios, if you've got a CO2 hit, you are going to be breathing like a train, for instance. So even with all the best planning in the world, there is this huge variable in there that you don't know. So what do we do about that? Now, I've talked about bailout on quite a few videos, and you know that essentially we normally dive as a team, and therefore around us is a lot of gas. So if I'm doing a deep dive, I will normally have a buddy with me. Between us, we will have 2 alley 80s of deep bailout gas, whatever depth we're at, 80 meters, 100 meters, 120 meters, there'll be 2 alley 80s. And then we will then probably have between us some sort of travel gas, and we will probably have between us some sort of gas that you can breathe at 20-ish meters. Now, but the big get out of jail for us that kind of copes with everything else is that coming from the surface is a huge amount of bailout gas. And also in the team around us is a huge amount of gas as well. So in a bailout scenario, what do we do for real? What we do for real is we just breathe whatever we can from whoever is around us for as long as we possibly can till we're able to get out of the water. At that point, you throw away things like run times. The skipper doesn't really care at that point. All they want is a diver to get out of the water safely. So really, you just breathing gas and plumbing it, putting it in computers, seeing what happens until eventually you can get out of the water. And in the worst possible case, let's say you breathe everything around you, which would be a pretty epic achievement because around us is an awful lot of gas. You then accept that you are going to get out of the water, get on the boat, get on oxygen, and call for help. So that's I did say it was heresy, didn't I? And that's a bit of a shock. And people will criticise that, and probably some of the things you're going to say, absolutely true. But that is what we do. I guess the one other bit of planning that I should mention that I haven't mentioned already is selection of diluent. And obviously, we do select an appropriate diluent for the depth, and that's based on, narcosis. It's based on work of breathing, gas density, all those kind of things, and that is really important. So making sure that you choose a sensible one and that there's enough in there and all those kind of things. So that is really important. But I hope that was interesting and useful and potentially thought-provoking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on and talk about some other stuff now. Now, what you probably notice is that since recording the other stuff and this, actually I recorded the other stuff yesterday, and this bit of the video I decided to re-record because I wasn't happy with what I'd done. So you will notice that the bit of video that's about to come, I've had a haircut and I've had a shave. Sorry, wrong. This bit of video, I've had a haircut and a shave, so I'm going to be unshaven and hairy in the next bit of video. But hey, please don't judge me too harshly. But also, I hope you stay on for the rest of it and hope you enjoy it. Right. Okay. So that's deco planning and management of decompression and management of time to surface. The other things I just want to talk to you about. The first thing I want to talk to you about is the Kernow Dive Festival. So I've just come back from this, and in fact, hopefully you can see that I'm proudly wearing my Kernow 2025 t-shirt. So for those of you who've never heard of it, it's one of the best kept secrets in British diving. It's it's run down here. Well, not down here. I'm in Devon. It's in Cornwall and near Penzance, and it's been going for 20-something years. And basically what it is loads of British Sub-Aqua Club branches bring their people and their boats and their tents and all that kind of stuff, and they go to Cornwall and into a campsite just outside Penzance. And the people who run it, who are absolutely fabulous, the people who run it use all the boats and stuff that have come down, mix everybody up so everyone's diving with different people, and they shuttle boats out to loads of the local dive sites. It's a fantastic thing. And British Sub-Aqua Club, at its very best, is a grassroots organisation, and this is a grassroots event. It doesn't involve the hierarchy. It's just a load of people getting together to do the thing that we all love. Now, you might say, what are you doing down there, Dom? Surely they're all doing, reefs and 20-metre dives and all that kind of stuff. Well, the great thing about the Kernow Dive Festival is that they also try and cater for people like me. So they put on 2 boats, Saturday and Sunday, and we went out and did some deeper wrecks. 50 odd meters, so that's really nice. 90-minute run times. You know, going back to our subject earlier on, and it was great. Most of the time, often it gets blown out, so we don't get to do them. But this weekend, we had one day where it was really lumpy, and I think it was touch and go whether we should have gone. But anyway, we went and dived a great wreck called the Underwood, which I'd not done before. Lovely World War II casualty, diesel engined, gun on the stern, load of ammo boxes. We had fabulous visibility. And I took in a guy who had not... he'd done his Mod 2 course up in Dorothea, but he'd not dived in the sea. So I took him in, and we had a great dive, actually. It was really, really pleasant. And then the second day, went to a wreck called the J.R. Parks, which is another World War II casualty, American Liberty ship. So, you know, huge 7,000-ton thing. Quite broken, but tons and tons to see down there. Once again, stunning visibility, really, really nice dive. And it gave me an opportunity to test out a few things. So I'm starting to get to that point where people are sending me stuff, which is really nice. So Orcatorch, who obviously sent me quite a few bits and pieces, sent me this thing here, which is effectively their tray and a couple of video lights, D710V, and they sent me that. So I took that down on those dives, and it's fantastic kit. It's really, really nicely made. Great video lights. If you were looking for something to take with you on holiday or whatever, that would be fantastic because it packs down quite nice and light. The lights are great, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do a full review of that, but it was really nice. And the other thing I've got is this thing here, which is an Insta Ace Pro 2. So the very latest one. It's got low light, really good low light capability. So I took that on a dive, and I actually took it on this thing here, which they also sent me. So this is their kind of 60-meter case. So there's 50-meter wrecks were great for it. They sent me this, and they sent me a selfie stick for it as well. So I was swimming around at 50 odd meters, doing some video of myself. So I'm going to stick some of that out at some point in the future. But it was really cool, and it's a lovely setup. This Insta Pro thing is just absolutely lovely. There's loads of great reviews of them on the internet, but I'm going to show what it's like in a low light environment. Spoiler, it's very good. But I'm going to be doing more on that as well. So, and the other good thing is with the Insta is they sent me another one. So I've got that one which I've used, and this one here, which as you can see, completely unboxed, brand new. That is going to be in a giveaway. Probably in July or August. So as always with my giveaways, that will be for people who've liked my Facebook group, but I'm also doing a new one as well. So if you, as well as liking my Facebook group, if you like my Facebook page, then you'll get 2 entries. So, you know, there you go. You want to double your chances? Like the group, join the group and like the Facebook page. Now, I also probably need to remind you that I've still got this giveaway here. This is the DC710. So this is the one that charges through the case. And that giveaway is going on until the end of June. So if you want to win that, that's the way to... remember, 2 entries. One is you like my... you join the Facebook group. One is that you like my Facebook page. And I will... you know, as I've done before with the previous giveaway, I will stick everyone's name in a hat, and whoever comes out will get sent that. And you will automatically, if you've done that, you know, anybody who likes those things automatically gets chucked in for the other competition. So yeah, coming is this lovely Insta360 Ace Pro 2, and it also comes with the diving case as well. Unfortunately, not the selfie stick. I've only got one of those. I have to say, I'm a huge fan of it already. So, selfie stick is brilliant, but I'm keeping it. So, those are my competitions. The other thing I said I would tell you about is my diving plans. So, really, really excited about this because it's not the Tampa. So, anybody who's heard about the Tampa, it's not that. We're going back there in September. But the big diving plan is at the end of the month. We are taking In-Deep's boat Seeker, and we're going down to Newlyn in the far west of Cornwall. We're going to base ourselves out of there for a week, and we're going to go into the Western approaches, and we will be doing a whole load of stuff that has never been dived before. So, it will be really, really exciting. It will be, if the weather's up for it, we'll be doing 100 odd meter stuff, and all being well, we will be finding a whole load of new wrecks and new stories, and of course, I will be documenting them and putting them out for you good folk who watch my YouTube stuff. Now, on the subject of watching my YouTube stuff, the other thing I just wanted to say is loads of people, I think, like the Shearwater Overlay that I've put on the last couple of videos. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, have a look at my last couple of videos. But what I need to do is give a huge shout out to Eric Stott, who has done the work to make that happen. He's been absolutely tireless. He has sent me prototypes and drafts, and he's continuously tweaking it. It's absolutely fantastic. I think it adds so much to my videos. I'm really pleased. Now, what I'm going to do is in the description, you're going to find a load of stuff in the description. You're going to find all the stuff about the competitions. You are also going to find links to some of those videos I mentioned, but you're also going to find a link to Eric Stott's channel. And if I could ask you a favour, please go to his channel, subscribe to it, and have a watch of his telemetry video if you're interested in doing that. I'm sure he would like all the usual sort of stuff for likes and comments and all those kind of things. So if you could do that as well, even just a cheers, mate, thank you. What you've done in terms of helping my videos get better, I'm sure that would be really appreciated. So please do that for him. That would be brilliant. And the final thing I'm going to close with is my 2 trips. I'm sure people were aware that I was trying to get 2 trips going in September, once again with In Deep. I had a recreational trip and a technical trip. Unfortunately, I didn't get enough people for the technical trip, which was really sad. So I've had to cancel that one. But I am going to try and do it again next year. I think probably I just didn't give people enough notice, and it's always the way with technical divers is you fill up your calendar. You got loads of stuff going on. It's quite difficult to kind of flex it around. So I'm hoping to get some dates for 26 towards the end of the year. I will put those dates out, and hopefully some people will be able to come and do some diving with me in Plymouth. Having said that, the recreational trip, which is maybe recreational is the wrong word. It's a kind of maximum depth of 40 meter trip. The 40 meter trip, we look as though we've got a full boat to go out for that. And there's a load of people coming on it. And it's going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to meeting all the guys who've registered. Unfortunately, I was oversubscribed. So a few people didn't make it on there. But if people drop out or whatever, then I will obviously be going to my reserve list. If you're one of those guys, I'm really sorry about it. But I can only fit a certain number of people on board the boat, and I drew everyone's name out of a hat to make it fair and all those kind of things. But once again, that seems to be really popular. We've got people coming from overseas, quite a few people from a couple of guys from Belgium, some guys from the Netherlands, I think a guy from Switzerland, and then people from around the UK as well. So it's going to be a really good time. Good mixture on board the boat. September's a great time of year for diving in Plymouth. Fingers crossed. And so I hope we'll have a good time. But as I say, I'll be putting something online about it. I'll be getting some videos, all that kind of stuff. And, if you fancy doing that, once again, I'll be hoping to put some dates out for next year, but probably not until October. That is my update. I hope there was something in there that you found it useful. If you, hopefully the bit about planning and dive management that I did at the beginning, you'll feel that's the right place to do it, and you didn't, and hopefully everyone hung on for the kind of update of what I'm doing, and hopefully found that interesting as well. And as always, it'd be great if you could give it a like, this video a like or a comment. And other than that, please go away and watch some of my other videos if you haven't already done so. There's a whole load on there. I think they're all great. It was really nice, actually. Sorry, I've got one thing I'm going to finish up with. Hopefully, you probably saw that some of the media picked up on my on bad terminology, our discovery of the Nantes last year. I found the crockery, so maybe it was me. But anyway, I found the crockery. As a team, we identified the Nantes, and the media have been really interested in that, so they've run it in various websites and that kind of stuff. So that's really nice to see, and hopefully, as I say, there'll be more of that to come this year. Right, And that is me definitely finished. I hope you've all enjoyed this podcast. And as I say, please go away and watch some of my videos. And I will look forward to speaking to you on the next one.